The bystander effect refers to the decreased likelihood of people helping the victim others are present. This is due to multiple psychological mechanisms. The first mechanism is diffusion of responsibility. When multiple people are present, an individual feels less responsible and less pressure to take action and help a person out. Pluralistic ignorance. People look to others for cues in a situation. People may not deem a situation as urgent, making people think it's not urgent, even when it is. Evaluation apprehension. An individual may fear not knowing how to help someone out, or fear being judged by others. And these are the mechanisms which cause the barrier to action. Let's take a look over here.
While the bystander effect may seem like a common behavior, psychologists wanted to understand why individuals hesitate to help in emergencies. Researchers Bib Latane and John Darley conducted some of the first major studies examining how the presence of others influences human behavior during critical situations. Their research helped show that hesitation is not always caused by lack of care, but by psychological factors like social influence, uncertainty, as well as diffusion of responsibility. One of the most influential studies on the bystander effect was conducted by Bib and John. In this experiment, participants believed they were taking part in a group discussion over an intercom system. During the discussion, one participant, who was actually a pre-recorded voice, appeared to experience a seizure and called out for help. Research manipulated how many people participants believed were listening to the emergency. When participants believed that they were the only witness, intervention rates were significantly higher and response times were much faster. However, as the perceived number of bystanders increased, participants became slower to respond and less likely to intervene. Many individuals hesitated because they assumed someone else would take responsibility and help the victim instead. This study demonstrates diffusion of responsibility by showing that individuals psychologically distribute responsibility across the group rather than perceiving it as their own. The findings suggest that the presence of others can significantly reduce the likelihood of intervention during emergencies. Latani and Darley continued their research by examining how individuals react in an ambiguous emergency situation. In another experiment, participants sat in a room while completing questionnaires. Researchers slowly introduced smoke into the room through a hidden vent. When participants were alone, most quickly responded and reported the smoke. However, when participants were placed in groups where others appeared uncertain, many ignored the smoke entirely, despite the room visibly filling with smoke. Researchers found that individuals often looked to others for cues on how to react. When nobody else appeared alarmed, participants interpreted the situation as non-serious. This demonstrated pluralistic ignorance, where social influence overrides personal judgment. Rather than trusting their own instincts, many participants relied on the behavior of the group to determine whether action was necessary.
Seeing the bystander effect in modern society, we do see it in instances like emergencies, where people are recording instead of taking action. And this raises an important question. Does awareness increase responsibility, or does it reinforce inaction? Let's take a look over there. While the bystander effect is often studied in controlled environments, it also appears in real-world situations. And this is my real-world experience. In a clinical setting where I was a healthcare technician, a patient was experiencing a seizure. Although multiple individuals were present, including staff and providers with higher authority, there was a delay in action where individuals were looking to one another in order to see how to proceed. In that moment, I chose to act, initiating a response rather than waiting, taking action, calling 911, and caring for the patient, whereas the other providers and healthcare staff were waiting around and seeing how to proceed. My situation reflects diffusion of responsibility, where the individuals assume someone else will intervene. It also demonstrates valuation apprehension, hesitation due to uncertainty or fear of acting incorrectly. What's important is the bystander effect is not about competence or experience, it is about the perception of responsibility. Even highly trained individuals can hesitate if responsibility is unclear. The bystander effect is not a reflection of the person's apathy, but it's a reflection of their knowledge. It's important that we make people aware of this phenomenon so we can avoid this in emergencies. And in an emergency, we need to know that it is nobody else's responsibility to help but you.